So I was like, how can I try to meet someone in the industry who can give me some advice when I don't go nowhere?
I think that question right there is the question that most people professionally are asking in Atlanta, but just generally in life right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lunch with the Cool Kids. My name is Gerald Davis, and I'm not the cool kid you are. And my Lord, we are in season 2, man, and we are off and running. So, YouTube, y'all know what to do. Like, y'all not gonna do it anyway. Listen, how many times have we been saying like, comment, subscribe, share? When people say that, I probably maybe like, and if I'm feeling good, I give you a comment. I don't share. So I apologize. I'm not gonna say that anymore. But if you feel so inclined, you should probably share. If you're listening to this, shout out to, man, hey, y'all are the real champs because we hang out for like hours and hours and on end. The YouTube crowd, they're fickle. They go to whoever else is, you know what I mean? But the podcast, the listeners, y'all the champs. Okay, welcome to Lunch with the Cool Kids, sponsored by BNG, Buckhead Networking Group. Y'all, Buckhead Networking Group has sponsored us, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But man, I'm super excited. It's the #1 networking platform in Atlanta by far, and they said that they want to talk to y'all all season long. So we partnered together, and boom, sponsored by. I need to put it somewhere. I'm gonna put it in the corner. I'm gonna put it sponsored by BNG in the corner, and y'all gonna see the little. It's cool. Okay. Y'all, I got a good show today. I'm excited for the person that I'm looking at right now, but y'all can't see her. This person is, can I say she's the queen of networking in Atlanta? Is that possible? I'm going to go ahead and say it. If not the queen, definitely the princess of networking in Atlanta. And she has an amazing story, and she's going to give y'all value like y'all don't believe. No pressure. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch with the Cool Kids, our good friend Rebecca Camon. Rebecca.
Yes.
What up? What up? Oh, man. How does it feel being royalty now?
Oh, my goodness. Royalty. You know, we're all royalty.
Yeah. See, that's what networking people say. They say things like that. And we're going to get into it. But, man, I'm going to let her tell the story. And we're going to keep it short.
Okay.
Because I want to spend a lot of this show talking about what you do and unlocking those secrets, so all of our cool kids that's listening can do the same thing. Okay, so very quickly, tell us your background. Tell us what you do for money. Well, W-2. Let's just say that.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Yeah, well, hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Camon. I am from Metro Atlanta, Georgia, and I, by day, am a technical support engineer. I've worked in technical operations and have my degree in cybersecurity information assurance, and I have a passion for helping people break into technology. I also am, as you already know, the vice president of operations for Buckhead Networking Group.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Listen, let me tell you, I'm going to stop your intro. I'm going to stop your intro. I was talking to the president, Johnny Wolf, and he spent far too much time talking about how amazing you are and how vital you are. So,
wow.
Yeah. So it's good to put the face to what Johnny's been raving about this whole time.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you.
When you were talking, I heard a couple of different things. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was Black woman tech.
Yes.
Atlanta.
Yes.
Not a lot. We don't see that a lot.
No.
How did you get to that point?
Man. So I learned about tech when I was in high school,
Okay, what?
11th grade. I didn't really know anything about it at all. It was a class. It was like an elective, actually. And I was trying to pick an elective, and I picked networking. And I took the networking class. I didn't really take it seriously. I didn't really know much about it, but I got a B in that class. And then I got a grant in that class, the Hope Scholarship in that class. And I was like, this tech thing.
What's the Hope Scholarship?
It's a scholarship that you can get in Georgia to fund you. It's a very popular scholarship. Most kids get the Hope Scholarship or a grant funding for school. So they'll help you. It can help with a lot of your tuition. So it paid for me to go to college, but I went to a technical college when I left high school, and I had a dual scholarship. So in my senior year, I went to high school, and then after high school, I would go part-time and take a class in college, and I got that college credit. So that's how I learned about tech and realized I was actually good at it. I picked it up quickly, but life happened. Life be lifing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't finish. But it's something that stuck with me for a really long time. So later in life, after I had my daughter, I circled back to it. I wanted to go back to school. And I was like, oh, yeah, let me get back into that. So I went to college. I went to Colorado Technical University.
Shout out to Colorado Tech.
Shout out to CTU because it was all virtual. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. I like to say house manager. Okay. At the time.
I like that.
Because I was managing that house, okay?
Shout out to the house managers. I love it. Okay.
So I went back to school. I got my degree. I got my degree. I was working at American Express at the time. I got my degree.
What were you doing?
I started off high-value customer service. So, like most people, especially most black women, we are usually working in the support field, which is very, it's like a gender-based role. Usually it's very high in women, especially black women. And you'll notice a lot of women work in customer support, especially coming out of college or high school or even as adults. It's just a field. It's an easy field for us to get in. That's what I was working in. I worked in for a long time. So I worked my way up. I went into onboarding, and then I went into project management there for performance, absence, and governance, which somewhat aligned with my degree, the governance part, reviewing policies, procedures.
I'm going to shake my head like I understand what that means. So me and my listeners, we're not slow. But explain to us what that is, just real quickly.
Yes. So in customer service, we monitor performance for all the teams. So I was on a remote team that was based in the Southeast region. So I managed teams, I want to say Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. I managed the remote teams and monitor their performance and would post updates for their performance and would have to call people out who were underperforming and give them some coaching as far as absence monitoring, return to work. People would leave for leaves of absence, maybe having a baby or maybe mental health. And just monitoring that, making sure that they come back in and have everything that they need. And then the governance part, which is my part.
Which is the part that I don't know what it means.
Sorry, I should have just skipped to that. Okay. It's just overseeing. So we had a lot of policies that would need to be updated.
So you were governing.
Exactly. Just governing the policies and governing the teams. And it was great, but it wasn't quite tech. And
I should have picked up on that. Okay.
It's okay. Got you.
Okay.
I got you. But it wasn't quite tech. And I couldn't pivot because the tech was in Phoenix for American Express. And they were like, we're not going to relocate you there. You're going to have to move. And I was like, I'm not moving to Phoenix. I'm not paying for that.
Have you ever been to Phoenix?
My sister lives there.
What do you think of it?
To be quite honest with you,
please,
it is quite the culture shock. I have never seen so many white people in my life.
Phoenix is...
It's beautiful, though. It's picturesque.
Shout out to Phoenix. Phoenix is terrible.
Tell me your perspective on that. Why?
Phoenix is terrible. It's dry. It is a picture. Yes. It's a picture of heat.
It's very hot.
Like the mountains are beautiful. That's all good. And maybe this is a whole nother show for another time. But me, my loving wife, and we didn't have kids at the time, but she was in the Navy, served for 6 years.
Wow.
and we went to lived in San Diego. We lived in San Diego. Went through Phoenix. So the more west that you get, the less black you get.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
yeah. So what you're experiencing is 100% true. You're like, man, where's the black?
Never in my life. I was on edge the entire time I was there, which is, it's really sad to say that, but I didn't feel safe, so it's really hard. I had some experiences while I was out there, so it was definitely a culture shock for me, but it's nice to know because I've never seen that before. So it's nice to know that it exists. So I do want to go back to visit. I don't think I ever lived there. No shame, nothing bad about Phoenix. Just not for me.
I know one person that lives in Phoenix. Shout out to Crystal, and actually I knew two people. Not gonna get into that story. Let's just keep it to one. I know one person that lives in Phoenix, and they literally said that God specifically talked to them and said, move to Phoenix.
Really?
Otherwise, they would not have gone.
My sister loves it there. And I see why. It's sunny almost every day. She's thriving, she's doing great. I see why she loves it. For me, it's just, we're different people,
We're different people. Okay, so Phoenix doesn't work. Phoenix is not an option. So pick it up from there.
Okay. So I was like, all right, I'm going to have to take matters into my own hand because my initial plan was I'm already here. I'm already growing. I'm already exceeding. I'm excelling. I pivoted twice in 2 years.
Here being Georgia.
In American Express.
American Express. Okay.
I'm sorry, at American Express.
Got you.
So I was like, they're not. I had an issue with my manager. She treated me very badly. She said things to me that were unethical. I feel like, telling me my daughter deserved better, and just making comments to me based off her opinions. She was very dictatorship. Mm-hmm. She wasn't much of a leader. She was like a manager, dictator, and she would talk bad about people. Aside from all of that, I couldn't see growth on that team, but I had to take matters into my own hands. So I was applying and interviewing. I'm like, I got my degree. I was looking at the job descriptions, and it showed the pay.
Yeah. And you're like, check.
I can check out that degree box. I can check that box.
Yeah.
So that was a win for me. That was a small win. So I was very excited applying. I was going into interviews. I was doing great. I mean, some of them I didn't do as good, but I was learning through them.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of rejection. I got rejection probably for like 6 months of rejection. And I tried everything. I updated my resume. I created a LinkedIn strategy to start networking virtually because at the time I was remote. I was at home with the kids. Then, I started going to school, and then I started working at Amex, but it was remote. So I was still at home. So I was like, how can I try to meet someone in the industry who can give me some advice when I don't go nowhere? So.
Yes. I think that question right there is the question that most people professionally are asking in Atlanta, but just generally in life right now. Yeah. We'll get to it. Okay.
Especially if you're an introvert. Like if you're an introvert and you don't like to get out there and talk to people, that's another aspect. So it's like, how can I grow myself and do this thing that I want to do? But it's just not really who I am to get uncomfortable and just start talking to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
LinkedIn was my friend. I started connecting. I did a cybersecurity search, and I Googled different roles, and I would look at different roles, and I would look for Black people in those roles. It was hard to find Black women.
Yeah.
Very, almost impossible at the time. This is a while ago.
What is it? What's the barrier?
I think that. What is the barrier? That's a really good question.
That's why they pay me.
I don't want to say what I feel like what I'm going to say is typical.
But if it's truth, then it's truth.
It is truth. I think the barrier are the people who are hiring, and the people who are on these recruiter teams, they're white people. And I think that we are placed in a box as Black women. We're expected to be in certain roles.
Yeah.
you know, until the whole DEI thing started happening. You started to see a little bit of a shift in that. But prior to that,
For people who don't know, what's DEI?
oh my gosh, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I was like, did I put you on the spot? I don't mean
No, I just had a quick brain freeze.
Okay.
Diversity, equity, inclusion,
Okay.
and they added a B, so you might hear DEIB, which is belonging. And there became initiatives and things for that.
Good job for the belonging. That was a good call.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. So until that happened, you started to see a shift. But prior to that, I feel like we're just put in a box. This is what I believe. Men, you would find men in cybersecurity. It was more common to find a black man, but still it wasn't a lot. Much more now than it was before.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I had a hard time searching and connecting, but my strategy, I feel like it worked for me, even though it didn't land me a job. It worked for me much later.
How so?
So
I paused because, man, it was so much loaded in that statement right there that I was like, okay, if we dive into that, we're going to be on that for like the next 30 minutes.
Probably.
So for the sake of right now, just how did what the seeds that you were planting then you start to see, or those things that you were doing then, it start to serve you way down the line?
Man, I connected with people and I was intentional about it. I would connect. I would log in every day, multiple times a day, kind of like how people do on Instagram and just scrolling. And I would do that on LinkedIn, and I would see their accomplishments, and I would celebrate their accomplishment on their posts. I would DM them and be like, thank you for connecting with me. I saw your accomplishment. That's amazing. Seeing you as a black man, because it was usually a man, seeing you as a black man in cybersecurity is inspiring to me. And as a woman, I want to break down the barriers, and I want to be a black woman leader in cybersecurity to inspire other women like me and to be able to give them a pedestal to stand on.
So what was the response when you would send those messages?
Surprise, usually met with happiness. Like, oh, wow, thank you so much. What are you doing now? What can I do to help? I gained mentors through that. I got advice. Some people would send me documents. They'd say get certified. So I got a lot of advice and mentorship. And they remembered me. And I would check back in with them over time, maybe every month. I check in and be like, hey, I hope you're doing great, or comment on a post, because they would post pretty regularly, and just make sure that they knew who I was. So later in life, when I created my own plan to get into tech now. I had to redo it and do my own thing. But once I did get there, when I finally got into security, it was from someone I met on LinkedIn who believed in me. And I ended up working with him at Greenlight, and he was like, I want you on my team. And that's how it happened for me. But even beyond that, I had opportunities to do moderation for Black History Month, because I was an ERG leader, which is an employee resource group for Black people. I was a founder of one, and I was able to give these men a pedestal, and some of the women that I met as well, and have them come and speak to the Black employee resource group and talk about what they do and where they came from and how they got there. So I created my own way to do that. That's a lot. I know.
It was a lot.
Talking fast.
No, it was a lot, but it was a lot in such a good way. And I wish that I was a good enough host to pause right there and say, hey, everybody, Rebecca is giving you game on how to network right now. You should probably listen for the next 3 minutes. So if you want to take, that should probably be just a clip by itself, because most of us, I think that we think of networking the wrong way. I think that we think of networking as let me go to a mutual place, let me shake your hand, ask all these superficial questions that everybody knows what's coming. Like, oh, how's the weather? Where do you stay? Oh, what do you do? Oh, how's that for you? What's your day-to-day like? Oh, man, I'd love to connect more. Here's my card, or here's my DM. And, and it just kind of goes from there, and then it just falls flat.
Dies.
Because it was in my opinion, and you let me know what you think about this, because you are the networking queen of Atlanta. At the very least, the princess. I think that it comes off as as a sales pitch. Just like a very passive sales pitch. Hey, I'm doing these formalities because I know that this is what you do when you network. Let me tell you these things. Let me check these boxes and let me try to connect with you. Here's my information. Let's go from there. And once again, tell me what you think about this. But in my opinion, I don't think that those people are memorable.
I mean, they're not, especially when you're meeting a ton of people. Like, what makes you stand out? What is it about you that makes you stand out? And I feel like if you have passion about what you're doing and you're talking about and you're intentional, you're definitely going to stand out because it's going to show and they're going to feel it and they're going to be like, wow, wow, they're really passionate. They inspire me, you know?
And then macro, what you said, big picture, you said you came into relationships celebrating their wins.
Right.
Like not trying to position yourself as a, hey, man, I see you doing good. Help me out. And I think that, Rebecca, I think that we do that just because we don't know a better way. And we're all, because we're naturally self-preservationists. Like we always want to put our stuff on. But you said, I'm not putting words in your mouth. You said that you came in celebrating their wins, and because you celebrated their wins, they were willing to help you.
Yes. It's crazy when you repeat it like that, but yes. And I don't want to say it was intentional. It just, I don't know. It's being myself, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional, but I think it was deliberate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
it's opening, like, especially if you're genuinely happy for them and you want to be doing what they're doing and you're inspired by them, there's that passion. Yeah. Then put yourself out there. What are they going to say? Don't congratulate me. You know, like what's the worst that could happen to you?
Yeah.
You know? So for me, it was exciting. Like you just got a new job or you just got promoted. Like I'm trying to be like you. I'm going straight to the DM, you know? And when I saw that start to be something for me, like an opening, I was like, you know what? We need more of this because people are just surprised, for one, and very excited to be celebrated, you know? Almost like they're not. But if you think about it, we're not celebrated like we should be in the office on these teams that are mostly predominantly white. We don't get our flowers when we're working hard. We're always continuously trying to work hard. So if someone pops up who you don't know and is inspired by you, it kind of, I feel like it lights a fire back under you again and it brings you alive again and reminds you why you're doing it, which I've heard from people before, which makes me feel good to be able to do that for them on top of them being able to do that for me.
In your opinion, because I'm going to preface this by what my belief is. My belief is when you have your thing, whether it's your business, whether it's your career, whether it's your passion, whether it's your thing that you advocate for, probably the most important thing, maybe I don't know, 1A, 1B, whatever it is, the most important thing, it's the community that you build around yourself. AKA networking. And I think that I wasted far too much of my life believing that the actual talent was the most important thing.
What do you mean when you say that the talent was the most important thing?
Like, so say I'm a singer. I can sing really, 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 really well. But I'm terrible at meeting people. I'm terrible at connecting with people. I'm terrible at following through with initial meetings and introductions and things like that. I'm incredible at my gift, at my talent. I'm not going to go too far because I don't have any rooms to go in and display my talent.
Okay, wow.
So, and I use that as a hypothetical. By the way, I am a musician. There's a piano right there.
Oh, you play?
I do.
Wow.
But that's neither here nor there. But
That's interesting.
but I started to notice things change in my life when I started connecting with people in a genuine way. And when you connect with people in a genuine way, and you're saying the same thing, some version of it, correct me if I'm wrong, when you start connecting with people in genuine ways, whether it's at that point or somewhere down the line, those connections, the deposits that you put in those relationships, you can withdraw.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
And they have no problem because like, oh yeah,
You've always lifted me up. You've always checked in, you know what I mean? You built this relationship. I know you, I trust you.
Yep. Yep. So in that regard, that's why I think that probably if the actual ability to do things is the most important thing, then the ability to connect with other humans is probably right under there. That's what I think. That's why I compliment you so much, because you have this ability to really connect with people and make them feel important and make them feel valued and make them feel heard and all of that good stuff. And shockingly, for some strange reason, everybody wants you involved in everything. Oh, go figure.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So
you want to know what's interesting? I was inside for a long time. You know, we outside. Like, I was inside for a long time, working virtually for a long time in a technical job. When I got my first tech role in technical support, it was mandatory that I came into the office, and I had not worked in the office in probably like 4 or 5 years, 4 years maybe. So I was nervous. I was like, I'm going into the office. There's people in there. I haven't, I was like, So, of course I went shopping crazy, and like, I just was really nervous, and that changed my life. Going into the office, I felt like a whole other side of me came out that I did not know was there.
Well, okay. I'm going to ask you this question as my cat just ran down the stairs.
Sorry. She wants to be in it too. She says, "What's up? What's up? Meow."
So that's how you know that we're comfortable when the cats started coming down. Okay, now we're into the show.
Love it.
Okay. I'm gonna say this real quick because I want to spend a lot of time with you answering these questions. Okay. Humans are built to be in community. And one of the hardest things about the pandemic and just generally the work from home situation is that it puts us in an abnormal state because we're the most alive when we're connected to other people. We're interconnected beings.
Yeah.
Like, I live off you, you live off me. We feed off, that whole thing. When you take that away, then we start like, oh my God, it's, I need to, I can DM somebody, yeah, but like, I need to laugh with somebody. I need to touch you, all of that good stuff. And I think that that's part of what's going on in culture right now, is that we did the whole pandemic thing and we just got weird.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't talk to each other.
It's traumatic too.
Well, yeah, people dying too. Yeah, that probably
not that part of trauma. What I mean is just being someone who is extroverted.
Yes.
Being forced to be inside has got to be traumatic.
Yes.
You're not getting that energy that you crave and that you need to thrive every day. So I'm sure that those people suffered.
Yeah.
And going back into that probably was not the same.
I worked from home. I started working from home in 2019 when we moved here in Georgia. So I like to say that I started the pandemic like 2 years early.
Wow.
But I'm a people person.
Okay.
And that whole time, Rebecca, I promise you, was I went through so much depression.
Aw.
Yeah, I did. It's okay. It's okay. But I went through so much because, like, I just didn't have people.
Yeah.
Like, everything was home. And, like,
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah. So, like, you wake up, You may or may not shower, who knows, but you roll out of bed and just in time to log in, and then you do that for 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever the case. There is no real separation from home and
No breaks.
no breaks. And when you're off, you don't have that time to decompress in the car on the car ride home or anything. Like, you just go into the kitchen
Or you keep working.
or you keep working.
And you don't have boundaries. And you get stressed and you're in overdrive and anxiety builds, and now you have anxiety. Now you have depression.
And the whole day just bleeds together, and you go to bed and you do it all over again.
Yes. Ooh, and some people, became caregiving, stuck in the house with abusive relationships, all kind of stuff going on with people. It's crazy. So just imagine the trauma. I feel like society is so different now because of it. Something that is really interesting about it for me is that virtually I had became very good at networking virtually before the pandemic because I was already at home and I was already in a virtual job. And I figured out how to connect with people without seeing them in person. So going into the office and taking that, it just was interesting how it all clicked. But then the pandemic hit and I had to go back into virtual. But I say all this to say that because of that, I am really good at networking virtually as well and being able to get the best out of people without being around them. So there is a benefit if you find a community virtually. It's just hard to connect. It's hard to connect virtually,
Let me ask you, what are we doing wrong in our attempts to network?
In person?
Just in general.
I think.
No, in person.
In person?
In person.
I think we overplan, like planning to network. Like, I'm going to this networking event, conferences. I love conferences. I don't know if you know, but I love a good conference.
Oh my God, that's so true. Okay,
I love a good conference for multiple reasons. But say you're going to a conference and, you want to have everything set up. You want to have your barcode on your screen so people can scan and get connected really fast. You want to have your LinkedIn ready to go. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, I'm nervous. I'm going to talk to people. Like, I'm just going to just introduce myself and have them scan my barcode. Like, that's not how you go into networking. I mean, you want to have a plan, but it's so much more than just being like, I'm gonna get my barcode scanned. I'm gonna go out here and meet these people, tell them what I do and get my barcode scanned, and then, like you said, move on.
Oh my God, that's so true. That is so
not barcode, true. QR code.
Yeah. We know what you mean. That's so true. We're just like, okay, and then it's like, okay, I got all this stuff together, and like, I'm just gonna get through it. Like, I'm just going to get through it.
And then nobody really remembers you.
That's so funny. What should we be doing?
Looking to connect. Feel the vibe. Like, breathe. Because it can be nerve-wracking trying to figure out, especially if you're introverted and you're not as extroverted, you could be in the middle. Breathe. Go with a friend. If you have an extroverted friend who, likes to network, take a friend with you who you can tag along with and get in on some conversations with. I would definitely say to do that. But aside from that, when you meet people, don't just meet them with your QR code and tell them about what you do. Ask them where they're from, how they get into, ask questions, open-ended questions to actually get to know them a little bit. Their story a little bit, a micro story. Share some of yours or ask them what wins they've had lately. Ask them questions that other people are not asking them. Be interested, you know?
You're going to hate me. Forgive me. Because the wins questions is good. It's very good. I was like, okay, man, I'm going to steal that.
That's a good one.
Okay. Forgive me.
What?
What are some questions that work that other people are not typically asking?
I cannot answer that because
I know.
It's random. It's true interest. Like, the initial introduction is usually, hey, I'm such and such. What's your name? They tell you their name. Oh, what do you do? I do this. What do you do? I do this. Oh, cool. From there, hopefully something triggers in your brain. Like, oh, how'd you get into that field? Or where do you work? You work there. How'd you get there? Like, oh, or you might have a common interest. Are you on an ERG there? Or anything that comes to mind. Anything. But you have to be very present and not in your head so much. You know?
Yeah.
Very present and ready to receive and ready to give back. So the conversation can go, I like your shoes after you do the introduction. I see you got your shoes on. Have some personality. Treat them like their family. Make them feel comfortable and make them feel welcome. And they will not only remember you, but they'll appreciate that. And they can carry that on to the next person that they talk to. Or people will come over, and next thing you know, you got a whole group. Yeah. Because the energy where you are is just like, I need to be over there. Look for people who are doing that if you can't do it yourself. You can walk over and be like, hey, y'all, what's going on over here? I always say, don't be scared to interrupt. We're networking. There's no one-on-one conversations here.
God, that's good. Man, that's good. Go to where it's popping and just be popping with them.
Exactly. And they'll be like, hey, because the energy's already there.
Man.
It makes it easy. It's like an open door, So sometimes I might be feeling like, I don't know where to begin today. It's a lot of people in here. So I'll just scope the scene and I might find a small group of people, and I'll walk over and just kind of butt in and be like, hey, y'all, excuse me. I'm Rebecca. And then I'll just listen to them talk and I'll hop in, and it's fine.
Like, what do you say? You hop in and what do you say? I know,
it depends,
I'm sorry,
though.
but
it depends. It depends on what they're talking about. If they're talking about, they could be all working at the same place and be there together for all you know what I mean? And be talking about work. And I might just be like, oh, y'all talking about work? Like, where do y'all work at? Oh, my friend works there. Oh, I heard of that place. Do you like it? And I'll just kind of switch it up a little bit, which is welcome, because they'll start talking to me, and we'll exchange information. We'll have a kiki, and then I'll move on.
You make it sound so easy.
I feel like if you get out of your head and not let your nerves control you and just understand that it's networking, we're all here to meet each other and not worry so much about being rude or saying the wrong thing, and just being yourself and just walking up. What's the worst that could happen? I will work a room, okay? Like, I will go from, like, where we going, girl? Like, we're going to go over here. And we'll walk over and we'll kind of stand so they'll know we're here. And then we'll just get in a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yes. Let me ask you. So I'm in a room, I'm in a place, I'm in a conference, I'm in a whatever the case. And like, I know on my hit list, I need to talk to this person. I need to talk to Rebecca Camon. All of this good stuff, that's fine. But if I talk to her before I leave, then I know that mission accomplished. I'm super intimidated by who she is, who he is. Maybe that's president of the company. Maybe that's the of marketing. Maybe it's a big deal in my world. I'm intimidated, but I need to go talk to them. What do I need to do?
Take a deep breath, because your nerves are probably bad. Your heart's probably pounding. But just remember, we're humans. We're all humans at the end of the day. I'm just a regular person. That person is just a regular person. You just go up and be like, hey, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to meet you all day. My name's Rebecca. Be honest, be vulnerable. My name's Rebecca. I follow you. I'll say it's you. Like, my name's Rebecca. I follow you. I am a fan of you, and I've been wanting to meet you all day. Can we get connected? Ask to get connected. If you probably won't know what to say after that, because, you're like, but get connected and then find something to say. Just take a moment and find something to say that is real and not like made up. And if you can't think of anything, then fine. Then you're not meant to say anything in that moment. You just say, thank you. It's wonderful to meet you. And you can follow up with a message right after that. Or what I like to do is take a selfie with them, and then I'll send it to them in their DM and put, really nice to meet you. That way, if I go back to follow up with them again, they'll be like, oh, I remember her. She was so excited to meet me, and she was really nice. And they'll see the picture and be like, okay. That's my favorite thing to do.
Holy smokes. God.
Don't make me laugh. Oh, my gosh.
I feel like my world has just been, that's so good.
That's a game changer right there. It's a game changer.
Oh, my God.
I do it everywhere I go. I think that everyone who knows me, who has met me out, has taken a selfie with me. And it's in their DM. Like, almost everyone. I could do a reel of selfies. And it's amazing for me because I can go back as well and recall. Because I meet so many people, I can go back and recall and be like, that person.
And nobody really does that.
I've only met one other person so far that does that. And I was
Well,
like,
that's about to change right now.
well, that's great. That's great because I think everyone should do it because you meet so many people when you network. You can forget, especially if you have ADHD or something going on, anxiety, something that can make you forgetful. Going back and recalling through visual is a game changer because then you can follow up and be like, I need to follow up with this person. I'm going to go look for these pictures. And you can just go through your DMs and scan, and then do your follow-ups. It's work. Like after a networking event, you should go back to your room if you're not partying, and follow up, do your follow-ups and make sure you're following up with people. That way you're being intentional and building a relationship while it's fresh.
That's a wonderful segue because my follow-up to that question is, so once you do that, which is, by the way, game changing, holy smokes. Man, listen, if y'all don't take anything from that and implement these things, then you just don't want to meet new people because that's the blueprint. Golly. Okay, so where's the follow-up at? Because here's the question. Where's the follow-up at? What's the effective way to follow up? I think, and what my experiences have been, is that a lot of I think a lot of us, we can build up the nerve to go and just talk to people. Yeah. Like, hey, my name is Gerald. I love to meet you. I love to follow me. Type of deal. Yeah. And then they do that, and then people are nice. Like, oh, okay, cool. They take the information, and then where it kind of falls apart, getting to the DM. Oh, man, I met you at the conference the other day. It was cool to meet you. And then they're like, oh, yeah, me too. And then, like, that's it. So you're shaking your head no.
Because, I mean, that's fine and all, but when you take the selfie, you send the message then when you take the selfie. So you take the selfie and...
Like right then?
Yes. And you put, it was so wonderful to meet you. My name's Rebecca, and I enjoyed talking about this with you. And you send the selfie and make sure you keep it in the chat because, it'll disappear. Make sure you choose the option to keep it in the chat. Send the follow-up message because they're not going to see it till later when they go and check their DMs. They're not looking at it right now.
Right.
So it forces them to go back and then they see the message and what y'all talked about, just a brief, I enjoyed talking to you about this, blah, blah, blah. So when you go back and you follow up later on, you can just hit the heart or something like that, or be like, oh, I hope you had a wonderful time at the conference. Let's set up some time to meet or something like that. Intentionally with the people that that you want to meet with. It may not be everyone, but with the person that you met and you want to talk to again, that's how you follow up.
You know what's like been my go-to lately?
What?
Setting up a Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely setting up a Zoom call.
Mm-hmm. One-on-one time.
One-on-one time. Because I'm trying to. What's happening right now in my mind is I'm trying to filter through all the things that I could say to the things that I probably should say right now. Okay. Part of, on my end anyway, of conversion from inquiry to client, and what I do like this in video strategy and things like that, things of that nature, is that I have to get them out of the chat as soon as possible.
Yes.
And that's a lot of us. I think we get hung up in that. Like, I'll send you a message and you're like, oh, cool. And then you'll send me a message and then I'll respond to that. And then next thing that you know, we got this big old chain and we've been talking at some point, it's just easier. Like, hey, let's just hop on the real quick.
You connect. You can connect much better. The personality comes through.
Yep.
It changes after that. There's a shift.
Yeah.
The shift must happen. If there's a shift needed and wanted, desired, it must happen.
At some point. You got to get out the chat.
The sooner the better, honestly. You don't want to build a chat relationship. You want to build an actual genuine relationship. Phone call, a Zoom call. And then when you chat, even when you chat after that, it's much different because you've already had a connection.
Me and your relationship is a example of just that.
Yes.
It is just that. So, absolutely.
I agree.
Okay.
Ooh, what's going on in that head over there?
Like, I don't know if we can take any more because it was so good. I got 3 more questions that I want to ask, but I'm not going to ask 3. I want to make sure that because it was so good.
Was it?
My God.
That's amazing.
Okay.
That makes me happy.
Okay. Let me breathe.
I can't.
Let me breathe. What? I was going to ask you what's the importance of mentorship. Maybe we'll have you back because I think that's a whole different conversation.
It is.
I think that's a whole different
Strategies for that too.
You just go, okay. I'm not going to do it. Y'all, she's not going to bait me into asking.
No, hey.
It's not going to happen. What is the big thing that we need to remember in networking?
I feel like it's not really about you, even though it is. It's not.
What do you mean?
It's more about building genuine connections, building relationships that can last over time. Some will stick, some may not stick. It's not really about gain. It's about building. It's so much more than just making sure somebody remembers you. You want to build genuine relationships, especially if you have goals. So you should be intentional about the people that you talk to. You should be intentional about the conversations that you have. Everything should be led with curiosity. Everything should be led with celebration. Not so much about you just trying to get your brand out or trying to let people know what you're doing, what you want. Don't make it so much about you and be interested.
I think one thing that I've been seeing that's working in my life, working in my business, is not coming in hot selling.
Yeah.
Because we can feel that a mile away.
It's a turnoff.
It's a turnoff. And like the Discord Buckhead networking group, ladies and gentlemen, this thing is popping up. And whole nother conversation, a whole nother time. No, real quick. No.
Oh man.
Let's not breeze that. So how did you connect with Buckhead networking group and get to where you're at?
Oh my gosh. So I've
and
yes.
What is your role?
Okay. Well, my role. Well, I started off where I started to where I am. Right?
Yes.
I started off as a project manager and helping with planning some of the events that we had and organizing a few things, creating some structure for our documentation and the way that we work. And then I pivoted into operations manager role. Bless you.
I'm sorry, y'all. I had to sneeze. A little behind the scenes. Had to sneeze. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. Bless you. Operations manager role was next, and that's because I was managing operations as well as doing project management, which is kind of falls underneath. They go together, and that pivoted into VP of operations because I do a lot. Like I do.
You do.
I do a lot. I'm not gonna say everything, but I do a lot.
You do a lot.
A lot. So that's how I grew. But I met the group because I already am a networker, like you said. The queen of networking, princess of networking. I'm trying to own it, but it's something that I'm passionate about and that I think is really important for people to start doing more of. So for 2024, I was like, I'm going to get back into networking because I had stopped a little bit. And I was like, I want to get back into that.
Why did you stop?
That's actually a really good question. I think it's just life, school. I'm in school for my MBA right now, general MBA, and I'm a parent, and work was crazy, and I just stopped. I got laid off. That's what it was. But when I got laid off,
That's a good reason.
I still did network. I probably networked hardcore, and then I stopped when I got a new job. When I got the new job, I stopped, and I was like, full force ahead. I'm gonna focus. I was locked in. But when the new year came, I was like, well, I want to get involved in some groups because I had joined SparkBridge nonprofit. I work for SparkBridge as the VP of the board, and SparkBridge is a nonprofit business organization that puts on activations for middle schoolers and helps them realize their career paths in STEAM, which we're pivoting our focus to be more well-rounded, but very similar to letting the youth know more about tech. Like I said, I didn't learn about it until high school, and I still didn't take it seriously, so we want kids to know their opportunities. So that's what that is. So I was like, I want to get involved in some networking groups. So one of the guys that I mentor is friends with Michael Fulton
The second.
And I saw a post for the Loft. So I was like, I'm going to go to this workout event. I've never been to the Loft. I want to go to the Loft. I heard it's popping. So I went there. And prior to the event, I was reaching out to Johnny because I was just like, I needed more information. Yeah. My friends is asking me questions I can't answer. And I was asking like, I need this. Do y'all have this? And we ended up linking up because he has the financial literacy book for kids. And I was like, you should do an activation at one of the schools. We should partner. And he's like, I like your work ethic. You should meet the team. So, but that was after the Loft event. He saw me interacting with a few of the ladies there, and we all came together, and we all were having fun. So he saw me networking at that event, and we had already established a business relationship as well. So I went into the meeting, and it was up from there. I stayed, and we've been working ever since, and that's how I got involved in the group, because I wanted to find a small networking group. Because I'm already a part of the Network of Atlanta. I'm already a part of other networking groups, and I was like, it's not really giving what I needed to give. So I was like, here's an opportunity for me to be a new member, not on the team, but to be a new member and bring my friends over, and maybe we can be a part of this budding group.
Yeah. And budding it did.
Pulled me right on into it, but I saw opportunity even then with Buckhead Networking Group, not only for them, but for myself as well. I did not ever see this coming, not at this level.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing where life takes you when you make yourself open to it. And a question I want to ask, and I'm not going to ask my 3 questions. I'm just going to let you know right now.
Okay, why not?
Because I know that our listeners right now, they're like, I can't take any more information. All of this is so much honest to God, this is so much gold.
Sorry, y'all.
I don't need nothing else. But what I do want to ask is, because there's going to be a lot of people from BNG who's going to watch this episode because people love you.
Oh, well, I love them back.
Yeah, they absolutely do. So, like for the new people, the new ladies who are coming into BNG and they see this like a virtual conference room, like, oh man, this is cool, but this is a lot of people and this is a lot of channels and this is what do they need to do? What do they need to do to get the most out of the group?
Oh man, that is a big question. I think it's all about knowing why you're here. And that's why when you're onboarding, I have a message there that says, introduce yourself and what brought you here. And in typing what brought you here, I feel like that should be a reminder of you why you're here. And you should look for those channels, I was going to say. So we have the categories. So if you're here because you're single, if you're here because you're a business owner and you're looking to...
Yeah, the single channel.
Single channel is lit. Okay, it is lit. Okay, it is definitely popping. But...
Let me just say, I had to turn off my notifications. Like, man, let me figure this thing out because this thing... I got notifications from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning.
They be like, who's up? Not me. I am asleep.
Single channel is popping. So, okay.
Yes, it's popping. So it's easy to get distracted. But I think it's important to know why you're here. Because we have so much going on. You can find your tribe. You can maybe meet your husband. And when it comes to tribe, it's different groups, plants. The whole goal of it all is for you to build new connections. It is virtual networking on steroids. So you just need to know your lane, find it. If it were me, I would come in, I would introduce myself, of course, and I would observe everything. I would take my time and I would comb through the channels. I would observe some of the conversations. I probably would take maybe a week to comb through everything and just kind of see what piques my interest and where I feel like I belong. I would find my belonging space, and that's when I would start to kind of go in and talk. And maybe on the back end, I might like a few things from certain people who stand out to me, because it's all these people. So it's like, it could be intimidating.
Yeah.
But if you're watching, you can catch a vibe, and you can like them and they'll see you liking them, and then hop in their DMs and introduce yourself like, hey, I'm new here. Do you have any advice for me? The same thing that you would do if you were at a networking event and you were talking to your friends before you go inside. Like, what should I do? Give me some advice. Mentor, ask questions. DM folks, ask me. I'm always like, I'm here. I go in and I wave at everyone, let them know I'm here. I see you. You have a question, come ask me, and I'm here for you, which they do, so I definitely would take my time. Some people come in and dive right in, but I would take my time and be intentional about where I want to land and what I want to get out of it.
Yeah, I think the diving right in is it's a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're the personality to dive right in, then dive right in, but know that people are leery about people who dive right in.
Right.
And like, if you are, I naturally lean towards sarcasm, and like, I think that, like, I'm better now. Like, this version that you know of me right now, this is a delightful person. Like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was very polarizing. You either really loved me or you really hated me, because I just lean towards sarcasm. I don't think some people who are kind of built like me, I don't think they've made that journey. Mm-hmm. So they think their sarcasm is cute and it comes across great over the internet.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And for me, someone who is like me, I'm very literal, kind of serious minded. I take everything pretty seriously, not like to heart, but I don't like to assume. So, if you're being sarcastic, I'm not gonna know. I'm going to be like, really? Or like, oh, really? And, I'm just playing. It's like, oh,
yeah.
So.
And I like, in my observations, that's where I seen, like, if some people started to take a wrong turn, it's not a lot, but if some people started to take a wrong turn, that's where it was. Mm-hmm. They just came in swinging and like, oh man, you should get my humor. We don't know you.
Right. You gotta take your
You're
time.
An avatar in the name. We don't.
It's the same thing we've been talking about: being intentional, taking your time, and building those relationships. Like, instead of diving in, we have plenty of channels where you can find your tribe and build relationships, and starting small before you get into the bigger channels. But if you're an entrepreneur and you're here to find leads and you're here to promote your business, it's really easy for you to dive in. So you want to dive in, drop your brand, what you do, and then after that, go and look and kind of slow down and look through. And you want to start building connections with people and getting to know them. And then they'll do business with you, and it'll be good business. And they'll tell their friends, because they feel like they trust you because you've built this relationship with them on this virtual platform. So that's the whole point of the platform, really, is for you to come in, share your business or what you do, and build relationships intentionally. And the best way to do that is to drop your business, drop your Instagram, and then go and find your tribe. But you got to comb through to do that, because there's a lot of channels, and you'll miss something,
Yep. Speaking of building relationships, how could somebody build a relationship with you? Where can they find you?
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on.
What?
Did anybody feel that transition? Was that not a good segue? That was awesome.
I'm pretty open. I love meeting people. I am passionate about people, and my name is Rebecca Inspires. I want to inspire people to be great. I want to inspire people to live their best life, whatever that looks like, chase their dreams, turn their dreams into goals and then into reality. That's my saying. Don't let fear steer. It's my favorite phrase. I'm going to coin that. But I would say Instagram, all the socials, Instagram, LinkedIn, Discord, in person at an event. If you see me, come talk to me. I'm always going to talk to you. If I'm surrounded, still come talk to me. I will see you, and I'll make sure that you're not ignored, because I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're not heard or seen,
Oh, that's good.
You know how that feels. I don't know. I know how that can feel. So especially if you're standing there waiting your turn and nobody ever acknowledges you, I would never do that. So I'm a very welcoming person and open to chatting. If you see me, come talk to me. I'm friendly. Shoot me a DM. A lot of people do that already. I'm combing through my DMs all the time. But yes, Instagram at Rebecca Inspires. You can find me on LinkedIn, Rebecca Camon, and you can see me on the Discord. I'm all over the Discord, Connect Atlanta. You see the link on Bucket Network Group Instagram. And no, that's it.
Yeah, and we'll put all of that, not all of that, we'll put most of that in the show notes below. Rebecca, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I hope that this was great for everyone.
I'm more than sure that it was. We're going to have you back. I'm just going to say that right now.
Okay.
We're going to have you back. And, man, much continued success. And you got some big things coming up.
I do. Yes, I do. Special announcements coming soon. I'm very excited for where my journey is going. And I urge everyone to, if you're interested, to follow my journey, because my life has been going crazy and I have been in a season of getting uncomfortable and facing my own fears. Like doing this is a big deal and just really stepping into what is for me and not being afraid of it. So that is where I'm at right now. So if you do decide to follow me, that's what my page is all about: growth and conquering my fears and owning my power.
Super dope. We're gonna have you. I'm just saying right now, we're gonna have you back, and then the next time we're gonna be talking on the other side of all that stuff, and then that's gonna be a fun conversation.
Ooh,
that'll be a fun conversation.
Let's talk about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, man. It's been a good episode. Y'all know what to do, all of that good stuff. But until the next time, you go change the world. Don't let the world change you. See you next time.